Hey everybody, what's up? It's about 3:50 on this Wednesday, the 29th. Well, not 28th, 28th I should say. I'm sorry. 29th is tomorrow. 30th is on Friday. So yeah, Wednesday, March 29th, I believe. Or 28th, I believe. Sorry, Wednesday, March 28th. 3:51 to whatever p.m. and I'm here with a little statement, from a journal, from a site that I've mentioned many times. I think you know what that site is. But this is from not from me. I want to make this perfectly clear. I'll provide the link down below. But their name, I don't know if you can see it there. It's in blue. It's called MadmanRB. Now, what's funny about this is this guy has in his little description box, his ID description box, is he says he loves roboticization and Koopifying. In other words, he loves, I guess, the art and the stories where characters get roboticized and turned into Koopas or whatever. And that's kind of ironic because what he has here, and the title's up there, it's called Why Archie Sucks from a SatAM fan's perspective, part 1. In other words, this is the first part of, I guess, many statements or rants or whatever he wants to type up on the DA. Now, this is the first time I've read it, so you'll be you'll also be hearing it for the first time, because I'm not sure how many of you go on the DA site. So hopefully some of you will probably look this over, and if I can fit this in the description box, I will. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that, but if not, I'll put the link down below. But this is from MadmanRB, and again, the title is, and it's up there, Why Archie Sucks from a SatAM fan's perspective. And if I can fit Madman's journal, or I should say, well, I'll put, I'll find out, I'll figure out a title, don't worry. It's going to be something like maybe SatAM fans' perspective on Archie. And maybe I'll put not mine. Because I got to indicate to you guys right now, just like I'm doing, this is not me, this is somebody else. So, alright. So here's what he says. This is from MadmanRB. Title again is Why Archie Sucks from a SatAM's perspective. SatAM fans' perspective, part 1. And again, this is what he's talking about. And I quote, this is MadmanRB's statement, not mine, this is his. And I quote, Madman, and I quote, "Alright, it's time to educate the Segasonic masses, because you all probably grew up on Sonic Adventure and think Shadow is the greatest thing since sliced bread." Again, this is MadmanRB, not me. Now let's break this down to you in terms you can understand. Once upon a time, there was a video game system called the Sega Genesis, or the Megadrive in Europe, and it only had 16-bit graphics. I know, how primitive, right? I know, how primitive, right? There was no intent as we know it today, back then. There was no MMO FPS games, MMO first-person shooter games, no teabagging people on the ground in video games, back then games were far simpler, with far more primitive storylines, with a few exceptions like RPGs. Then there was a game called Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Sonic 3. Then there was a game called Sonic the Hedgehog, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and Sonic 3 was in the future. So there was no Shadow, no Rouge, no Knuckles, no Blaze, no Big, no Silver. In other words, I think he's from the United Kingdom, from Europe. Basically what he's indicating is back then gaming and gaming stories were a lot more simpler, and at the time, the game Sonic was in was 1, 2, and 3, and this was at a time, as he puts it, no Shadow, no Rouge, no Knuckles, no Blaze, no Big, no Silver. Well, actually, Sonic 3 is when Knuckles came around, so I think you got to scratch the Knuckles part out. Amy wrote, now continuing what he said, and again, this is MadmanRB, quoting MadmanRB, continuing on, quote, Amy Rose existed, yes, but she was a non-playable character in a little game called Sonic CD. Yes, I know video games used to be on CD. How primitive. They still are. Well, actually, they're on disc now. DVD, they're actually on DVD disc, and, well, you get the idea. But they started out on CDs, what he's saying. Okay, continuing on MadmanRB's statement here, and I quote, well, this is the world the way it was in 1992. Ooh, right when the original Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons came out. Created by Dick Entertainment, now Cookie Jar Entertainment, not Archie. These cartoons brought us characters like Princess Sally, Rotor, Bunny, Antoine, aka cannon fodder to you newer fans, as they are not in the games, though they were in Sonic Spinball, a game dismissed by Sonic Sega fans, and yet if Sonic becomes a stupid werewolf, it's perfectly accepted. So in other words, what he's pointing out here is, the Sega portion of the Sonic fan base can accept Sonic turning into a werewolf, but yet when they look at Sonic Spinball and hear about the bonus stage where Sally in her original pink design, Bunny and Rotor along with Tails have to be rescued, they dismiss it. Now, okay, continuing on what he said, and I quote, this is Madman again, MadmanRB, and I quote, to you, these characters are wasteful and take up room. You people want them dead and gone, and the personalities that Archie Comics gave them only furthers this mindless hate. In other words, okay, never mind, you get what I'm saying here. Again, I'll provide the link and everything, you can read it for yourself. But for us older fans, these are Sonic's real allies. And again, this is MadmanRB talking. I'm just quoting what he's saying. And I quote, but for us older fans, these are Sonic's real allies. Not some annoying fangirl who can't take a hint that Sonic doesn't love her. Doesn't mean he doesn't want to be friends with her, just doesn't love her. No evil black version who, despite needs a gun and a bike, calls himself the ultimate life form. And then he puts in parentheses, my ass. No big-breasted bat who's obsessed over emeralds. Hey, watch it, man. I like Rouge. No big, fat, stupid cats who are too dumb to exist. No, these characters were personalities and traits. No, these were characters with personalities and traits that were lovable and good. Take Princess Sally. To new fans, take Princess Sally. To new fans, the Segasonic fans, I guess, or the younger fans of the Sonic Adventure generation, to new fans, she is some bitch who just bosses Sonic around. But to me, and again, this is MadmanRB talking, I'm just quoting what he's typed here, but to me, she was a level-headed leader who only bossed Sonic around because he needed it. In the SatAM universe, the world was a far darker place than it is in the games. If Sonic is as arrogant and cocky as he is in the game now, he would have died, or worse, become roboticized and then seconds flat. Now yes, I know, but SatAM isn't canon, only the games are. He put that in quotation marks there. He said, but SatAM isn't canon, only the games are. In other words, he's acknowledging that people come out and say that all the time, that, oh, well, the games are canon, not SatAM. And then he continues on after he says that, he continues on, and I quote, This is MadmanRB, and I quote, "And to that I say, screw you. It does not matter as back then SatAM was canon. There was no established universe before Sega made Sonic Adventure. This is only part of the reason why the comics suck. They only suck because Segasonic fans took over the staff and have no idea how to work the SatAM characters. Personality tweaks were made to make the Sega characters appealing and the SatAM characters seem worthless as they are not in the games." So he's assuming that sometime down the line, the staff that works there now is comprised, some of it's comprised of Segasonic fans. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think it's just the regular staff is doing what they have to do, whether we like it or not. Now, continuing on what Madman said, and I quote, continuing on what he said, and I quote, Now what about what is happening now?" And this is MadmanRB talking again, and I quote, "Now what about what is happening now? Well, Ian Flynn, a former SatAM fan, is now in charge and is now mindlessly killing the SatAM characters, but only because you Sega fans want it." And he capitalizes, "You Sega fans want it." Yes, I'm blaming you Sega fans. And again, this is MadmanRB, not me. This is what he typed up. MadmanRB typed up. "Yes, I am blaming you Sega fans. This current arc is only there to make sure the comics end with all the SatAM characters dead, buried, and forgotten about, and let the magical Candyland of games come in. Ian Flynn wants a bad taste in your mouth. He wants you to hate the comics so sales will drop, and these characters will only be a memory. Then the next head will make everything like the games, like you wanted, but this is a bad thing? Why? But this is a bad thing, you may? But this is a bad thing? Why, you may ask? Because it sacrifices creativity to the homogenizing process. Things will get old and stale, and there will be no more imagination and creativity in the franchise. Sega fans, you really got to look at your franchise and see how far down it's gone since the glory days. Now, the games are only made for the cool factor. Like Sonic Unleashed. You younger fans might think, hey, Sonic is a werewolf. Awesome. No, this is lame, and the minute you realize that, the better you become. Sure, you may hate me for saying this, and I don't care. Wake up, younger fans, because it's a larger world out there than you know. This is part one of many to come, so my venom is far from out. In other words, his ranting is far from done. But again, that is a statement from MadmanRB. Now, as you notice, I did not agree with some of the things he said. And, you know, he is a SatAM fan that probably does read the comics, but just doesn't like what's happening to the SatAM characters. He probably feels, but from what I can tell, he probably feels all characters need to be equal. In fact, in some of the follow-up comments, he says, look, everybody should be equal. So, that's initially what he says. It's like, in fact, he told one person, hey, you won't, because of the mandate Sega has, you won't see Amy get roboticized. And that might be true, but from his perspective, and even I've mentioned this at one time, that if it wasn't for Sega's mandates, then yeah, Amy would probably be in that position that Sally's in, if not both at the same time. But we don't know that now. But I kind of understand where he's coming from, even though there are some things I don't agree on. So, I'll post a link in the description box, maybe the whole statement. Comment if you like, video response if you like. Comment on his thing if you want to, if you have a DA account, and I'll talk to you later.